Alright guys, so now coming to our last and final pattern. Okay, this pattern is known as a wedge. Okay, so we have two types of wedges. One is called the rising wedge, and this one is known as the falling wedge. Okay, so wedges are nothing but trend reversal patterns. When you see price, moving in this type of formation, okay, which somewhat looks like a channel, right? But it's the ends of the channel are closing in like a triangle. So this is a mixture of a triangle and a channel, right? Where the ends are narrowing in, okay, and it's sloping upwards. That is basically a rising wedge. Okay, and this is a very, very strong reversal pattern. So whenever you see this on the charts, be alert that there will be a reversal coming very soon. Okay, so and when these patterns play out, they play out very, very effectively. Okay, so how do we trade this channel? Simple. We simply trade the breakout. So now in a rising wedge, right, we are only going to be playing the breakout towards the bottom side, not the upside, right? So if you see price breaking up towards the upside, we will not be taking that breakout. Okay, because generally what I've seen is these type of breakouts tend to fail, right? Because these are reversal patterns. So when it breaks out towards the bottom, I will enter on the breakout, right, with the first swing low as my first target and the second swing low as my second target, right? Stop loss can be the midpoint or the upper end of the wedge. Okay, so that was the rising wedge. Let's come to the falling wedge now. Now in a falling wedge, right, you will see price move down like this, in this format, right? So when we play the breakout, we will buy it on the breakout towards the upside. Stop loss can be the lower end of the wedge, and my targets will simply be the next swing highs, right? The first swing high and the second swing high, right? Now generally in a wedge, okay, the targets will achieve very, very quickly, okay, because these are very strong reversal patterns, and so the targets will generally tend to reach very quickly. So whenever you see a wedge pattern, do play it, because they are very, very effective patterns, okay, especially for trend reversal. So let's look at a few examples. Okay, this is Bank Nifty. So we had a rising wedge pattern, right here, right? Now guys, keep one thing in mind. To form a rising wedge or a wedge pattern, right, again, you need two swing lows and two swing highs, right? Just like two trend lines, we need two swing lows and two swing highs. And when you get that, right, and then you see the pattern looking like a wedge, so then we will take our entry right on the breakout, okay, with the first swing low as my first target and the second swing low as my final target, right? And eventually in this case our target is achieved. So this was a rising wedge. Let's look at a falling wedge pattern. Okay, so we have a falling wedge pattern here. We get the breakout right at this level, and so my first target can be this first swing high, and the second target can be this second swing high right here, right? You could see how the trend immediately reverses the moment it breaks out, right? This is the beauty of wedges. that when the move happens, it happens dramatically. Now let's look at another example. This is Bata India. You can see this entire time it was just trending up, 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 and up. And while it was doing that, it was also forming this rising wedge pattern. Right? You can see how it starts to narrow in, and right at the end, it breaks out. Okay, so this, we would enter here on the breakout. This is my first target, first swing low, and the second swing low can be my second and final target. Let's look at this example. This is Coal India. This is a very neat example. So beautiful falling wedge pattern. Finally, we get the breakout here. Stop loss can be right at this, below these swing lows here. Okay, and you want to keep the targets. You can keep the first target here at the first swing high, which is a very small target, and your final target can be this, the next swing high right here. Okay, and eventually both the targets achieve. Let's look at one last example. This is Jindal Steel. Sorry. You can pull one like this. Right? So this is a nice falling wedge pattern, right? We enter here on the breakout. This can be my first target, and these highs can be my second and final target. Right? So this was the wedge pattern, right? We looked at two patterns, the rising wedge and the falling wedge. These are fantastic trend reversal patterns. And so that's it. That's all about the wedges. It's a very simple pattern to trade, and when they do occur, they give fantastic moves. So that's about it, guys. This was the last and final pattern. So we will end this series